Okay, here's a video showing some ideas of for removing a nail without doing too much damage to the wood around it. Now, it's inevitable to pull a nail out, you're going to do some damage, but in some cases, when you use a pry bar or the wrecking tool or cat's paw, you can do a lot of damage cracking the wood. This is cedar and it splits easily. Now, I tried removing these nails carefully. Here's my first attempt, just trying to be careful with the cat's paw. You can see I had some pull out just because it splits easily. And then I got a dent on this side. I even tried using a paint stick as I pried it, but the paint stick was so soft that it still left a mark and dented the wood, because this is not terribly hard wood, it's a soft wood. Here's a second attempt. In this one, I actually used a chisel on the sides to try to prevent it from splitting too much. And then here, instead of using a wooden stick, I used a metal bar, a metal mending plate. And this came out significantly better. On my third attempt, I pre-cut it with 3/4 inch chisel, and you can still see that the cat's paw left a dent. I did use the mending plate, but it did not leave so much of a mark on it. I think because I was able to evacuate enough wood with the chisel that the claw was able to get further down under it and didn't have it there. Now I'm going to try those techniques on this one here just to give you an idea of how it works. The reason I might not want to damage this wood so badly is I might want to reuse it, possibly in a different application. If I remove the wood, I could turn it over, for example, and the damage would be minimal on the other side, but I don't want to split it so bad as to, compromise the entire piece, basically. The other option would be, since it's painted wood, is to actually, even if I use the same side, I could fill it if I just nailed it in a slightly different spot. And the amount that would need to be filled would be quite small. The other option would be with a hole saw, it would be to drill it out and plug it. Anyway, it would depend on the application. Now here, I'm just going to show you what I've been doing here. Okay, I'll hit pause and I will use the chisel operation. Okay, here I used a 3/4 inch wood chisel. Now here, you notice I actually made a dimple when I was putting this nail in. This is not the original piece of wood for this window. This is cedar. I replaced many years ago a pine piece which has rotted. Now I'm taking the whole window out. So I just trying to experiment with ways of getting this nail. If this were a screw, there are ways of extracting a screw out. But a nail, I haven't really found a better way than this. If it was obviously a single piece of wood, it's easy to get a nail through it. But in this case, this is nailed into this casing here. This is what's holding the window into the house. This is an older style window. Okay, now I'm going to use the cat's paw in this area to get underneath so I can get some grip on that. Okay, I started putting the cat's paw under it. Now when you do that, you might notice that the cat's paw starts to dig in on the sides. You haven't necessarily chiseled away enough wood for that particular size cat's paw to get under it. So I did reapply the chisel on that edge. You can see the cat's paw is beginning to dent that in. Here's a 3/4 inch chisel I'm using. Here's my Craftsman pry bar, the cat's paw. These might come in different sizes, but this seems to be a reasonable size. And now I'm going to use this plate behind it. I'm going to put the plate here so that I don't dent this more than necessary. And then I'll try to get that nail to start coming out. Okay, now I've started to get the nail has started moving. I do notice that with the plate, as I apply the pry bar, it tends to push the plate up, and I'm sure there's probably a better tool which would stay down you know, if it was part of the extraction tool itself. I think you might find tools like that possibly exist. One thing I tried here was a piece of wood, thicker than the paint stirrer. The paint stirrer was no good. This is more substantial. And I put that there because what I found was the cat's paw would dig into that wood and would not drive it up. Okay, and that's another idea. So now I've got this starting to move. Now I can actually get the claw on the hammer under it, and I will be able to use that wooden plate now behind the hammer so I don't further damage that piece of wood. This should be easy from this point. So here I was able to take it out with just the claw hammer. I just didn't take it all, but just so I could show you. And I basically got the same result as what I got up there. It's no better. The key on this is if you see the wood starting to rip out, to just use the chisel. Now, once again, it's obviously significantly damaged. This is going to have to be repaired in one way or another. But it would be interested if there was a way to do that with even less damage, but I'm not aware of that. I have seen some tools, but they seem to cost quite a bit. And I think in this case, patching it or reversing the board would work in either case. I just wanted to minimize the total damage. I didn't want basically to end up with a bigger split, which might happen if you just use the cat's paw all by itself. It does really rip out a much larger area, and this board only has a certain width to it to begin with. So, okay, that's all for here. Thanks.